Okay, as this time the recorded game is not buggy. Let's focus on the exploration, blue side. Well, there is no song for some reason. Oh, that's weird. It's not eating the elephant. That's clearly a waste of resources for SilverTongue. So to be honest, I don't know much SilverTongue. I don't know if it does have several strategies or if it does have one unique, regardless of civilization. Okay, the second elephant is eventually eaten. Red already found its opponent. Oh, it's once again buggy for some reasons. That's weird. Okay, Randy, anyway, thanks for having confirmed that the score was good. So, as Byzantine, we can say that SilverTongue goes for crossbows, or at least archers at this point. Going for pure archers can be risky, but it helps a lot to keep training villagers at the same time and to go for castle in pretty decent time. Other side, we've got a mix: skirmishers, archers, and spearmen. Alright, here we go for the first assault. At least the spearmen should die. Alright, but it was maybe a bit too much. Alright, Omega stays quite passive, despite the fact that it does have a clear military advantage. We've got 9 archers. And I think that at this point Omega might have double the military population. And at least it does have some precious skirmishers, but there is a lake of fletching, while SilverTongue does have already fletching and its first armor. Well, it might be able to research Castle Age quite soon now. I think that it definitely can be a key in that game if those archers, which are at this point quite powerless, can be crossbows. Delirium Omega wouldn't be prepared to face that army of crossbows, especially if it does have Botkin Arrow as soon as possible. Let's see. Well, I didn't realize that Delirium Omega managed to be as fast as its enemy in researching castle. But let's see what is gonna happen right now. Once again, there is a lake of upgrade. Red side. We've got Buntkin Arrows. So this fight might be won by SilverTongue. Okay, we've got some skirmishers too. The bunch of rams are appreciated at this point. Alright, I think that red can't do any comeback. Good job, SilverTongue. You won the 1v1. As soon as the military population was defeated, red was dead. So we've got 1-0. Here we go for the 4v4. Just let's have a look at the civilizations. So blue player is Byzantine, green is Chinese, teal is Teutonic, And gray is Burmese. Alright, Harundi. So as Byzantine, the strategy remains the same. Chinese, it looks to be the same strategy, pure arches. Okay, we've got a stable as Teutonic. And I don't see any military population. We can expect a fast castle. Well, not that fast I would say. But at least we've got already a lot of villagers. Okay, one stable also for the Burmese player. So Delirium Omega is a 10 years old AI, or maybe more. So without any user patch, the scripter couldn't make specific strategies as flank or pockets. So that's why you will see even the pocket going for feudal rush with skirmishers, etc. All are focusing green. Yeah, green is researching Castle Age. Despite having been hurt, it did lose its whole military population. It couldn't handle this 1 versus 4. But at least it does have the market. Let's see what's going on. Purple is now attacked. That says that Stellarium is pretty offensive in this early game. For some reason the two pockets are touched. Alright, this combination of knights plus skirmishers is actually working pretty well. Let's focus on orange. Yeah, it's actually hurt a lot. And all the players are now in Castle Age. Alright. Blue is attacking orange for some reasons. And that's a pretty bad timing because red is eventually attacking blue, which doesn't have a decent army close to its town. And its army is actually dead. Well, the score remains at the advantage of SilverTongue. Maybe because orange is hurt a lot. Okay, I don't get why red does have some camels, while the enemy's knights are in the opposite side of the map. Alright. Well, it's turning fine now for SilverTongue. But we will have to care with blue. It still does have a decent population, despite being hurt. Well, this is a pretty... Oh, that's so sad. I really liked this castle built by green in the front of blue player. We've got an attempt from teal this time, but unfortunately it is in the path of the enemy. So blue population is now decreasing. It's turning scary for SilverTongue. And gray stopped pushing its side. It's now attacking by the middle of the map. Okay, green is researching Imperial Age, and so is teal in few seconds, I guess. Just a few gold is missing. Well, blue managed to survive eventually. I think that the help from green was pretty efficient. The score is pretty close, despite the fact that the game is actually a 4 versus 3. I'll increase the speed. Yeah, for some reason all the Delirium Omega are attacking the same opponents. And unfortunately for SilverTongue, this purple castle is making teal and grey quite busy, but their assault is really inefficient. And I don't get why teal has a solo score compared to the other players. It's close to be full population. Yeah, teal is struggling against this purple's castle. Well, impressive push from Omega. Blue being almost dead, they already start pushing the next opponent, which is the green player. Alright, we've got one trebuchet eventually, that could help. Alright, the castle is down. It's interesting to see teal, which is helping green in the front of this green's town. Well, I think that the score remains close, but I can't see SilverTongue doing any difference, especially in the back of the map. Grey looks really powerless to press the next opponent, which is purple player, while in the opposite side, green is almost dead, I would say. It does have 32 villagers. It does have at least a lot of trade cards. But it looks like teal can't do much more at this point. Okay, there is maybe here an opportunity for grey. Well, maybe come back. At least the trebuchets are doing a great job. Now Teal definitely needs to survive. And all will depend on Grey. Yeah, Purple is eventually actually defeated. And Yellow's town is now the next target. That's a good point from SilverTongue. Let's have a look at the population each player. So blue player is 6 population, red is full population, grey is 45, yellow is 118, 80. Well, teal is actually 122 population. Alright, purple is definitely not dead. At least it lost the front. But it does have a pretty decent town. So actually it remains a 2 versus 3. Yeah, Delirium Omega is able to keep being full population. Yeah, yellow and red are actually doing a great job. Alright, if Grey is a new target, I think that the game is gonna be over soon. What about green? Okay, green is rebooming. And it's also attempting to attack from the north, but it won't do any damage, I think. It's a pretty long game. Already 2 hours game. I'm quite happy the game to be recorded. That way we can go very fast. Okay, so green is dying once again. 80 population for teal. And 111 for grey. Against full pop player. Alright. Blue and green resigned. So did grey. So, it's GG. It's a pretty solid play from Delirium Omega. I think that grey and teal took too long to hit the castle, defensive castle from purple, while the other side was eaten by Delirium Omega. I guess it was the key moment. Alright, purple managed to keep having a decent population despite the fact that it has been quite under pressure at some point. Alright, quite a long and intense game. So at this point the score is 1-1 and we've got the 2v2. Alright, so I'm back. Green and blue decided to attack yellow. Unfortunately, there was no coordination between those two players. Well, yellow does have 10 military population. And red does have 28. Let's go for the first assault. At least that's pretty dangerous for blue. Blue, which definitely needs to go Castle Age. Of course, we've got the market. Alright, unfortunately red sent even its skirmishes under the TC. I think that blue is lucky. The lack of retreat rules against the TC helped a lot. Alright, green is researching castle. What about red? Red is not too far. And so is yellow. So at this point blue is... well, blue is also close. I think that blue did use the market. So green will have an opportunity, a window to hurt one opponent if it make a good use of its crossbows. At least we've got crossbows plus bodkin arrow already researched, so let's go. Here we go. Oh. Uh-oh, there is a tower. And there is a disadvantage. Oh, that's a shame. Green is losing its whole military population. Okay, that's a big failure. And blue for some reason keep attacking yellow. I assume that it did find red. It did, of course. Okay, this time blue does have the advantage. And I definitely like this ramp from green. But blue will have to deal with an assault from red. Oh right, interesting, red send its military population to defend Italy. Well, if yellow loses its TC, that's gonna be a drama for its team. It was a unique TC. And it doesn't have the wood required to build another TC. It's a shame to see that it decided to build a university at the wrong moment. Oh right, we've got one TC, but it's gonna be pretty exposed. And that could be a key moment. Blue will need to handle this assault from red. At least this castle might help. But I don't see any military population from blue. It might have lost everything against red. Alright. Red is leaving. The game is turning in 2 versus 1. If red kept pushing blue, I think that the game could turn different. So, as expected, yellow lost its TC, which was really exposed. So, what's the population each player? Alright, green Imperial Age pretty soon. Let's see if he does take an advantage from this. It goes for bloodline. Okay, the bloodline were for light cavalry. Well, the question is, red is it able to beat 2 SilverTongue? At this point, it looks to be possible. It will depend on blue now. Well, the main unit from blue looks to be the rams. I don't see much military population here. And red is doing a great job against Dwin. Alright, let's go for the arbalest. At least I think that blue just saved Italy. Thanks to this push. Yeah, red's population has decreased a lot. This is game over. I assume that green does have a lot of relics. Okay, GG.